Hello and welcome to Skiltron meeting, folks. Tonight we have our guest is a legendary singer from Newcastle, England, singer of Satan Blitzkrieg. Please welcome Brian Ross. Hey Brian, how are you doing?
How you doing?
Thank you for being here with us tonight.
No problem at all. My pleasure.
So, how is it going?
It's going as well as you could think. I mean, I've done nothing for a year, which you can probably tell by all of this and the color of my hair. Um, Nothing at all. I haven't sung or appeared live or on anything. This is actually the first thing I've done in a year.
No worries, we are all in the same page, believe me. Yeah, absolutely understand that thing. So is any things are getting any improvement in the UK at all? I mean about our music scene, live music.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're expected to be able to sort of go back to doing gigs from May. Um, but that's really probably going to affect smaller bands rather than Blitzkrieg or Satan because we obviously do the majority of our gigs across Europe, South America, North America, and so on. And we don't do an awful lot of gigs in the UK, but smaller venues like pubs and clubs and things like that. They are opening up from May, and hopefully we'll start to see musicians get to play one more time. So we're looking forward to that. I mean, we're actually, at the moment we're trying to sort of pull together an album. We have been for over a year. It should have been released last year because last year was Blitzkrieg's 40th anniversary. So we were going to try to do an album for that. Obviously, it wasn't possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to release the album this year, which is the 40th anniversary of the first single, Buried Alive. And we're just going to make it one whole big thing together, really, like sort of just combine the two things.
Well, you know what's funny? Our new album also was supposed to be released last year. Obviously, it got
Mm.
delayed, and we have a song that is very iconic. It's one of people's favorites, which is "Bagpipes of War." And last year was the 10th anniversary since it was originally released. So we were planning to do a 10th anniversary version, but now it will be more like a 11th anniversary version. So it's like
Well,
more.
I think you've got a good excuse, though.
Yeah, it's more or less what you were saying about the 40th anniversary.
The
Well,
entire world has took a week. The entire world has took a year off.
yeah,
So I think we can get away with that.
yeah, absolutely. And as people know, as you know, this is not like a real interview. It's just more like a friendly chat with like a
Mhm.
pub chatting or something like that. But there's one thing that actually I want to ask you is about how it was for you to be one of the protagonists in the creation of the new way of British heavy metal, like being on the even in Newcastle, that it was a city that, if I understand correctly, it was like one of the main points where a lot of bands came from. How it was
Yeah.
to grow up and to be part of all that.
Well, first of all, I didn't. I don't feel that I helped create it. I'm not actually from Newcastle. I'm from an old town called Durham, which is kind of 20,
Yep,
25 miles away from Newcastle.
yep.
But yeah, you're right. The center of heavy metal in the northeast of England was in Newcastle, mainly because of Neat Records. And our Blitzkrieg was actually formed in Leicester. I was living in Leicester at the time,
Hmm.
which is like 200 miles south. And the Blitzkrieg came back up here to play at the Mayfair in Newcastle. We also signed to Neat Records, of course, as you know. And we were like a family. Neat Records was like a family, and you had Fist and Raven and Venom, Blitzkrieg. We were all great friends, and we still are. And like I say, family. It was a whole family feel to it. and recording it at Neat Records in the Impulse studio was just like coming home. It was fantastic. But we didn't. I don't know whether we actually created the new wave of British heavy metal. I think we were just part of what happened. I don't think anybody created it.
Well, what I mean,
Um,
I didn't mean that like you created, but like being part of the very beginning. That's what I meant.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, we were there from the beginning. Yeah, obviously, and it was like, when we were sort of working towards what we felt was just pure British metal.
Yeah,
We all felt that. Uh, we all became part of the new wave thing, and as I say, you would meet bands from all over the country. Cloven Hoof, you know, Saxon, Iron Maiden, all those bands. You would meet them from time to time because we were all doing the same thing. We were all trying to play, and we were all trying to get our music heard as much as possible. So we all struck reasonably good friendships from that point. Like Biff from Saxon, I've known him forever. It's like we're great mates, and whenever we meet up, which we haven't done for the last year, of course, but
yeah.
whenever we meet up, it's kind of like, oh, remember the days when we did this and when we did that, and it's just great, it's fantastic, lovely people.
And then you joined Satan eventually, but it wasn't from the very beginning. It was just on the original.
No,
From the last first three albums, it was on the last one of those three. If I'm right.
yeah, I joined Satan in 1983. I took over from Ian Davidson Swift, and he promptly went to Avenger, the band that I'd left to join Satan. So that was quite interesting. But, it's I think, although people say that this lineup of Satan is the original,
Yeah.
it technically isn't. I think what they mean is they might mean it's the classic
Classic
lineup, like
lineup. Yeah.
Deep Purple with Ian Gillan is the classic, lineup of Deep Purple, whereas the original Deep Purple had a different bass player and a different singer. So
Same with
I
Maiden.
think,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden as well.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I would say I'm not personally saying that this lineup of Satan is the classic lineup, but people do.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it would be right for me to say it.
Well, especially since you did the came back and the last few albums that they are brilliant actually, and you still were able to capture all that atmosphere and even the sound of, which is very
Yeah,
good thing.
I mean, when we came back, we wanted to do the first album that we did. We wanted to do the album that we should have done in 1984. Had we stayed
Yeah.
together and written and recorded an album to follow up from Caught in the Act, what would it have sounded like? And that's what we wanted to achieve. And I think, personally, we achieved that. And a lot of fans have come up to me and spoken to me at concerts and said that we have achieved that, we've done that, and we're continuing in that vein. We're continuing to do that, and just sort of bringing Satan, slowly but surely up to date, really.
Yep. So it was like a logical continuation, sort of.
Yeah, of course. Why would you want to? Why would you change something? In England, we have a saying called "If it's not broken, don't try to fix it."
Yep. I know
And
that.
I
Yeah.
think that is perfect.
Yeah. And actually, it was good that you didn't just make a came back like, okay, just a reunion for shows. You actually did like new stuff and great new stuff. It wasn't
Yeah,
just.
I mean, we
Yeah. Sorry.
wanted to do that. We wanted to get out there and play as much as possible, meet as many people as possible, and just let everybody know that we were back. And it was a bit of a risk, to be honest, because we didn't know whether the fans were still going to accept it after all of that time. So, like any band doing a comeback tour, I think you find that you're a little worried in case the fans don't turn up. What happens if we're playing to an empty hall? What happens if they don't go out and buy the record? But we had nothing to worry about because they came back and they're just fantastic people. I think it's true to say for me that I feel that Blitzkrieg and Satan have got the best fans in the world. They've stayed with us right the way through, and they're still there for us, and we're there for them. And it's like, long may it continue.
Yep, absolutely. And do you think that all this time out that all of us we are having, and did give you the chance to maybe get like new perspectives, and I'm not saying ideas for the future, but maybe to give you the opportunity to think about things that maybe you didn't before, and how you continue things after all this?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, we kind of in England, it kind of all came to a head last March. So that's kind of a year. That's a year ago,
Yeah.
And in that year, we couldn't rehearse. We couldn't get together to write music. We couldn't get together to record anything. I know there's bands have put out albums. Saxon, for instance, they've done Inspirations.
Yep.
And an album
Cover
full
album.
of material. It's great. I mean, it's fantastic. To be honest, I wish I'd thought of it, but I didn't. So the thing is, we've just kind of struggled on with it. First of all, you're annoyed because you can't get out and do what you want to do. Then you become despondent about it, and you're kind of wishing that it was over with so you could get back to doing what you love. And then in December, I was tested positive for having COVID myself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was ill. I missed Christmas completely.
Sorry, when was that? In December?
Yeah, that was in December. I was on December the 10th. Wow. I tested positive, and I was in bed pretty much for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Oh. I was really ill, and some of it I can't even remember. Oh. I was having hallucinations and all sorts of things. So it was really an awful time. But now I think coming out of it at the other side, I felt hopeful. Hopeful because I could have been an awful lot worse, and hopeful that we could see some kind of light, that hopefully things were going to start to improve. As a lyricist, I deliberately stayed away from writing a song about COVID-19. I have no intention of writing it. I'm sure many other bands will.
Oh yeah, and they are already out. Yeah, many of them.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do it. I have no intention of doing that. I think what I want to do is forget it, and when people come to a Satan concert or a Blitzkrieg concert, I don't want to remind them about it by doing a song about it. So let's just put it in and move on.
Absolutely.
And let's get back to do what we love best.
But I wasn't aware at all of that you went through that.
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, technically, although I tested positive, I had absolutely no symptoms of COVID-19 at all.
Yeah.
None. But what I have got, I do have a lifelong problem. And it actually made that worse. So I think if you've got a breathing problem, which I do, then something like COVID-19 really hits you hard, and it did. But as I say, I've kind of come through it. Some people, unfortunately, didn't.
Yeah.
We've all probably lost friends that we've we were devastated because you just wouldn't believe that this could happen. But that's just what's happened, and I think now is the time to sort of look forward and
absolutely
and sort of do what we do best.
And sorry to keep talking about that, but I just want to know: have you been able to recover 100%? Like, there's no any sequel or anything?
Almost. I mean, really, I'm completely recovered now, except that if I walk or go upstairs, I get out of breath very, very quickly. But I've got a regime that I've always done from being a teenager, or the warm-up exercises that I do for vocals,
Yep.
the breathing exercises that I do for vocals, and I've taught a few people, prospective singers and singers already in bands, and taught them all what I know, and I find that is helping enormously. So hopefully by the time I get to do a gig or get into the recording studio, or even a rehearsal situation, hopefully by that time I will be totally over it.
Yeah.
I'm still not yet, and it's still dragging on, but hopefully,
Yeah, right.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
All the best for that. Talking about moving forward and thinking positive about the future. What I was talking to John, what was our guest last week, is that
Right.
I think that now, after all these people, is going to maybe appreciate more the opportunity. What I mean with this is like maybe
Yeah.
not things that before they were given by granted. Now it's gonna be like we knew how is not being able to do all this, so now you actually have to take the opportunity and enjoy it as it should.
I can't wait. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it may, as far as playing in Europe is concerned, it may be a little bit more difficult after after the UK
Yeah,
leaving
yeah.
the European Union.
Well, same
But
wise for bands to go to UK.
of course, yes,
Yeah.
and I think there's obviously ways around these things, and I think I'm fairly sure that they will sort something out so that, because they're not going to want to stop musicians moving around Europe. I just can't see that happening at all. There's
Yeah.
bands from Europe that are going to want to play in England and vice versa. So I think hopefully they'll get all of that sorted out, and we'll be able to get out there and start to play again.
Maybe we just need to think how to figure that out, make a plan together or something.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool.
Actually, we did one of our last tours was in the UK last February, February 2020. It was
Okay.
actually end of February, so it was when all this
Right.
already started. So
Yes.
it wasn't a problem at that point in Europe, but it was already, like people getting aware of that and everything. So, but fortunately, we were able to
Yeah.
complete the tour. But that was pretty much one of the last things we have done. We actually played
Yeah.
Newcastle.
I mean, it's sad. I totally feel for you, because we kind of all are sort of going along, doing what we do, and then all of a sudden it stopped. It just stopped immediately. And I think, like yourself, we're looking forward to the day when we can get out there and do it again.
Did you, for example, been doing anything else related to music that maybe not you haven't done before on this year?
Um, the chance would be no. I mean, I've been asked to do something which I actually can't talk about too much, but there's somebody contacted me on Facebook, and asked me would I like to take part in a rock opera kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah, why not? So I've got that to do, and I've got to record the parts for that, and send it to him. As I say, I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I don't want to steal his thunder.
Yep.
I guess he's going to want to announce the whole thing himself, which is fine. So I'm going to try and get that done before I have to start working on the new Blitzkrieg album. And I know that the guys in Satan are going to be, contact me about doing a new Satan album as soon as we're able to do so. So I think other than that, I haven't really done anything at all. As I say, I've not done any interviews. This is the first one. So it's probably nicer that it's more of like an informal chat than someone firing questions at you that, in an interview situation.
I don't have any list, any paper here. It's just as it goes. The
No, I
friendly
mean
chat.
that's fine. Just whatever you feel like saying, just
Mm.
you just go for it. I think that's probably a good thing.
I was thinking now when we have met actually a couple of times, but I can actually remember where it was. I think I remember one. It was in a festival in Germany called Dong Open Air.
Ah, yes,
Funny
yeah.
name, by
Oh,
the
that
way.
was with Satan. Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, very strange name, but a great festival though.
Yeah,
It's on the top of a plateau on a mountain,
yeah, very hot.
and it's a great festival.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
rem
really cool.
I remember that time, and I know it was like at least one more, but I can't remember where. Anyway,
Well,
yeah, I'm sure we
you'll
have.
probably remember when all of this is over. You know,
Yeah,
you'll think, God, that's where it was.
yeah.
But
I think
you
we had played another festival together, but I'm in the same
know.
bill, but I can't remember which one honestly. But
Well, next time come and
yeah,
say hi.
doesn't make any difference now anyway. So so how you're now you're spending? You say you're not doing nothing, but well, of course you have to do something. So are you like reading, like watching movies, like things that maybe
Yeah,
you
I
are
mean,
not? I mean, things that normally you wouldn't have too much time to do when you're on tour and working on a
oh,
studio.
when I'm, you know, what I have been doing is kind of um, read. You know, I have done some reading. I don't watch a lot of TV at all. I only kind of watch Doctor Who because I like Doctor Who. But that's another story. I'm not so keen on it anymore. But that's another story. Um, but movies, I like to watch movies. I've caught up on. Although I don't normally watch a lot of TV, I have caught up on some TV series that people have recommended that I watch. So I've watched those. But writing anything, no, not really. Funnily enough, I started writing some stuff yesterday for a song that should be on the next Blitzkrieg album. So, um, yeah, there's a few songs that I've worked on. Fortunately, the guys uh, recorded them on their home studios and sent them through to me. So I was able to write a few lyrics in here and there. So yeah, bits and pieces of this and that. You really, nothing, nothing sort of earth shattering.
And not being able to see any of your bandmates at all.
No, well,
No.
apart from my son Alan, of course,
What?
because he lives here.
Yeah.
But we had a meeting last week, but on here. So when you said that you were doing it through Zoom,
Yeah.
I'd already installed it on the
Uh-huh.
phone because we had a meeting using Zoom last week with the guys. It's not the same though. I mean, to be fair, doing this is all very well, but I would prefer to be sitting in a nice lounge drinking coffee with you,
Absolutely, man.
talking than you know. But I mean, yeah,
Absolutely.
you have to do these things because it's all we have,
Yep.
and this is the only way to do it right now. So, um, you know, that's it. But yeah, a year has gone by, and it's like we've done nothing really.
Yeah.
It's like it's shameful, really.
That's what I wanted to give it like a some sort of pub atmosphere with the graphics. I mean, it's of course
Yeah,
it's very far
graphics are great. I'm really, no.
very far to
That's the
be.
sort of place that I would like to live in.
Yeah, it's like a medieval tavern or something like that. Of course, it's very
Yeah,
far to be
absolutely.
something as you say. Like it will be much better to be sitting and having some coffee or whatever drink you want. But
Yeah.
yeah, as you say, there's
Do you know
no much to do, nothing else, no much opportunities.
no, not really. No, there's nothing else that you can do really. Shouldn't you? You're not supposed to go outside. You're not. Um, like I say, I mean, I've got. When I was telling you about COVID-19, I've got a medical condition called COPD,
Hmm.
which is it's a respiratory thing. Um, So because of that, I'm not allowed to go outside to public places. So it's difficult, but you get around it. With things are starting to ease now, so like I say, that'd be really cool. Um, get out there and play some gigs and meet some people. Um, Providing we're allowed to, of course. I mean, I loved when the very first thing I do after I've just done a concert, I go backstage, have a quick drink, and then I like to come out into the audience and meet people
Yep.
and stuff, because I love that. I love doing that. I love to be able to meet people and chat to them and answer any questions that they may have. And that's great. Whether we'll be allowed to do that when we first start doing concerts again, I'm not sure, but hopefully it won't be too long before we can do that again.
I think it will be like very step by step, but looking forward for
Yeah.
to the first step actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know who it was, but some clever guy once said the journey of 1,000,000 miles is started with one step,
Yep.
and that's true. Let's just take that one step first of all. Let's get out there and start, being able to see bands and play again, and then we'll take it from there and see where it goes.
Have you been vaccinated, by the way?
Yeah, I've
Yep.
had one vaccination so far. I've got the second one to come to yet.
Okay.
I don't know when that'll be. Probably in the next few weeks or so.
Do you feel anything
So
strange or?
let's let's see how that goes. Again, I was perfectly fine. Some people have been really ill when they've had the vaccination. I was perfectly fine. No ill effects from it whatsoever. So thankful for that, really.
They're saying that your wall decoration looks very nice.
The
There's a comment that
the
says
what
that
looks very nice.
your wall decoration looks very nice.
Yes.
People are
Thank you
saying.
very much.
um, this is a question that I'm curious about. Have you been at least once to Argentina, right?
Yes.
It was once or twice?
Um, 3 times, I think.
3 times actually.
Yeah, I think so.
It was two
Um,
Satan and one Blitzkrieg.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm from there, so I just want to know what were how it was experience for you and how you
I
compare
love
all those 3 times there.
I love it. I like to get out and meet people, and this is a great job for that. For to be able to go and meet people all over the world, because I just like that. I just like that sort of thing, and going to Brazil or Argentina, anywhere really it's just fantastic. And I think generally people are just they're just nice people. You meet these people and they I mean, one guy told me when we were in Brazil um, that when it was one of the Satan gigs, um, it had actually cost him a month's wages to buy the ticket. I mean, I was absolutely
I believe that.
astounded at that.
I believe that.
Yeah, I was astounded, but it kind of tells you what kind of people these are. They'll use up an entire month's wages just to come and see a band, and that kind of, in a way, that humbles you, and
Yep.
it makes you think that is fantastic.
Hmm. And also, it's really nice when we have the opportunities to maybe go into places that otherwise we would have never gone.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, there's only a few jobs that would actually allow you or give you the opportunity to travel the world, and that is being a musician primarily, of course, or if you join the army. And I've got no aspirations to join the armed forces at all. So it's got to be music for me.
Yeah, for example, we have played in places that I would have never imagined I would have gone in my life. Like a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
we went
you love it, right?
to Belarus. You know, it's one of those countries
Yeah,
that and it was lovely. But it was one of those countries that maybe if you are going for a holiday that you will never think of. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like
But you love
yeah, absolutely,
it's great fun.
absolutely. We have loved every place we have played. Of course, there's experience that they are better than others, but we really appreciate everywhere, and we are very thankful of having the opportunity to
Yeah,
go to all those
it's
places.
fantastic. I mean, we on the last European tour, Blitzkrieg it played. That was in 2019, I think. Um, we played in Romania
We have
and
been there. Yep.
yeah, in Transylvania where Dracula's castle is. It's like
Exactly there.
oh, yeah,
Exactly there. We've been, not in the castle,
yeah,
but in the area of Transylvania. Yeah.
no, it's great though, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
come
amazing.
on, we're here. We've got to do this. So yeah,
Actually, it was that
fantastic.
same weekend we play a festival in Belarus and Romania. So it was like a
Right.
very like exotic weekend for us.
It's probably the same festival that we played, the Old Grave Festival.
No, I don't think it
Um,
would have been the same because the one we played was like a folk metal festival. So
right, okay.
yeah, and it was like
This what we played. I mean, that was an all-out metal festival
mhm. Like
called the Old Grave Festival, and it was great fun. It was fantastic.
is what one of those kind of like this festival in Germany. What's the name? Keep it true or something like that.
Hmm.
Is it
I'm not sure.
okay? Like
I'm
like
not sure.
like a
Some,
old
some
school
kind of
bands and things like that.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get to, yeah, and so despite all this, do you have any? Of course, we have, for example, gigs that they've been rescheduled. Do you have any of those? Even you don't know if you are going to play, but there's still dates ahead.
um, we were supposed to be playing Headbangers Open Air
Hmm.
Festival in Germany in 2020, but obviously that was cancelled. Um, whether it goes ahead this year and they invite us to come along to that one, I'm not sure. But as of yet, we still don't have any gigs penciled in at all. So we're just kind of looking at it and thinking, well, when are they going to get in touch with us, or when are they going to do it? But I think looking at it, it's going to a lot of these festivals and things, they cost an absolute fortune to put on.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably going to hang on until they know for certain that it's going to go ahead. Because the last thing you want to do is spend a whole load of money on organizing something
Yeah.
that's not going to go ahead. So, um, you know, I think they're probably being cautious right across Europe. In fact, probably across the world, really.
Yeah.
Um, but I think once we see that things are starting to sort of go back to some kind of normality, then we'll start to see the bigger festivals like Wacken or Sweden Rock or Headbangers Open Air and so on. We'll start to see them um, coming forward again, and hopefully we'll see the back of this awful situation that we've all found ourselves in. Really,
Unfortunately, it doesn't look it's gonna be this summer. Doesn't seem like that.
mm. It's
But
not looking likely,
but
is it?
but it's like
Really?
you say, festivals that they take place in the summer, June, July, August.
Yes,
There's
they do.
they
Yeah,
need to start organizing it now, or even they should have started already. So that's why
yeah,
they cannot risk to start the whole organization and start putting money on and without the certainty of
yeah.
what's gonna happen. So
Of course.
that's why all the cancellation starts already, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, and we kind of expected that, really, because I think some people um, were possibly a little bit previous, and they started to think, oh well, things are going to lift. We're going to be able to do this again, and so it was possible that they started thinking outside of the box and thinking, yeah, we can do this, but it hasn't quite worked out that way. And I know from a personal point of view, the amount of money that it costs to put a tour together, it's astronomical. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
You know yourself how much you need to sort of, so that people, even just for the basic things of people eating every day.
If you just count one thing, which is just the night liner is 1,000 a night. That's it.
Yeah.
Only that.
Go ahead. I've done tours in nightliners, and I've done tours in minibuses, staying at hotels. I prefer, I must admit, I much prefer being in a little minibus and then staying overnight in a hotel. It's much more comfortable than a nightliner, because the guys in bands, no matter what they'll, no matter how much they try to behave, they just don't. And you're never going to get any sleep on a nightliner. It's just not going to happen. So I would much prefer to stay in a hotel overnight.
There's a big difference, I know. But anyway, Brian, I want to thank you once again for your time. I certainly have enjoyed it. I hope you too.
Absolutely, it's been an absolute blast, and let's do it again sometime when we can talk about, you've done this festival, you've done that festival, and stuff.
Absolutely,
we've kind of talked a lot about the situation that we've all been in, or COVID-19 over the last year. Of course, you're going to talk about that because that's what we've all been experiencing, and we've all been in this one together. But let's do this again when we can talk about other things as well.
I will tell
be really cool.
I will tell you one more thing about that. That there's I have seen comments of there's many bands doing this kind of streaming things now, and either playing live or just doing like a podcast thing. And I have seen comments of people saying that bands should have done this even before, like between tours or everything. And I agree on that, but the reality is that maybe in a normal situation you will have never think about something like this.
Of course,
that's
something like this that has happened puts that into perspective and gives you that idea.
Yep.
That there is alternatives, and you can't. Of course, you can't change or better the actual feeling of being at a gig, but as an alternative under situations like this, it is worth thinking about.
One idea that I came up with, of course, needs like some kind of developing and everything, is that even when we are able to tour again and shows are back to normality and everything, still doing from time to time some live streamings of those shows for people who are not able to go because they are in other countries or whatever reason. That would be maybe a good idea. Things like that. But again, you only think about all those things when things like this happen, because you will never think of
course
before.
Then if ideas like that have come out of this, then at least some kind of good has come out of COVID-19. I mean, it's dreadful that so many people all over the world have died, and it pains me, but we have to sort of now look on and say, well, these ideas such as that have come through, and yes, we can do this.
Yeah, take something positive out of everything.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I meant.
Good has come out of it.
That's what I meant, for example, when I was saying that people, all of us, we should like appreciate the opportunity much better after all this.
Of course.
So I think it's a very good message to end with, being positive.
Well, thank you so much for
getting
in touch.
Thank you.
And inviting me to do this. It's been an absolute blast, and it's fantastic.
For me too.
And we'll do it. We'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely, and I hope that soon you are able to recover 100%, and we are kicking the road together at some point.
Of course, yes. I look forward to that.
Okay, thank you, mate. Have a good night.
And you. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.